Joe, what approach are you suggesting to the teams, like how to approach tomorrow night in the pregame and turning the page to actually playing?
Yeah, I mean, because of who our guys are, I'm not really suggesting anything. I mean, I trust. Is it going to be easy? No, but I trust who they are, and I think they have an understanding of both. This is what we accomplished, and this is what we're trying to do. So there's really no suggestion from me. It's trusting the character and the mindset of our guys, and just preparing. At the same time, you're in a situation like that. Can you rely on the things that brought you to that moment to help you in future moments? The togetherness, the humility, the mindset, like all the intangibles that go into winning should carry over from one season to another season, and you look to carry those over from the beginning of the night throughout the rest of the night.
What are you expecting from your personal experience tomorrow night as you guys get the rings, you see the banner go up? Like, what do you think it's going to feel like?
Yeah, for me personally, trying to blend both, right? Trying to have an understanding of like, this is what we accomplished, but this is how we did it, and we have to take that right into what we're doing 30 minutes from now. And so it is an accomplishment, and I'm grateful to the organization and the city that we get to coach in this environment of where winning is an expectation every single night. And you're a part of something that's bigger than yourself with the people and the players that have come before you. Can you take the intangibles of that and apply it 30 minutes later? And so I think that's the mindset of it. You have to appreciate it, but you got to know what got you there. And if you forget what got you there, you'll never get back.
It's not always usual for a champion to bring back almost everyone. What kind of pressure, and maybe pressure isn't the right word, but what kind of pressure do you feel to kind of maximize this opportunity that you have with this group?
Zero, no pressure. We're all going to be dead soon, and it really doesn't matter anymore, so there's zero pressure. You're either going to win or you're not. And when you win, you try to forget about it a week later, and when you lose, you try to forget about it a week later. And so it's not pressure, it's an opportunity. And we have an opportunity here over the next few years, however long we're together. I've said this in the past, like we have an opportunity to carry the organization forward, to double down on the tradition and the history of what this organization has. And what else would you expect than someone expecting you to win all the time? I wouldn't want someone expecting me to lose all the time. That would be debilitating. So we have an expectation to win. We have great character, great talent, and we just have to work to maximize that, and we're going to rely on the players to do that.
Nick,
Alex,
go ahead.
Al was talking about how special it is to have his son be so involved with the team and kind of be like a fixture of the organization almost. And I know a lot of the kids are around. Like, why have you as a coach made that something that's like he thanked you kind of for creating that as a space?
Yeah, I mean, because I have kids too, and we give up everything for 9-10 months a year, and we miss games, we miss picking them up from school, we miss all the things, and I know how important family is to a lot of our players. Because a lot of them are dads, and so really cool moment last year is like he told me he was bringing them on a trip, and I was like, that's great. But I didn't. We were at Chicago, and I didn't know he was going to be sitting on the bench until I go sit down, and I look up, and Ian's sitting on the bench while I'm drawing up a play, and I was like, damn, that's pretty cool. And so I think it's just important. Like, we're not just basketball players. We're dads, we're people, and like you want your kids to be able to go back and see, hey, this is why I missed practice today. This is why I missed being at something today. It's because we're doing this, and it's so much bigger than everything else, and you want you to be a part of it. So I'm grateful that he takes advantage of that, and hopefully the rest of us do that as well.
Joe, you seem like to be operating in two different worlds here. The Boston sports world, where it is, like Jay was saying, pressure from media and fans and all that stuff, but you are keeping it very human. Like, we're all gonna die soon and all of that stuff. Like, how do you bridge that? Because you have to live in both worlds.
Yeah.
How do you manage that?
I just don't look at it as pressure. Because like a Boston media member or somebody expecting me to win, like they don't have a weapon, like they're not gonna like come after me if we don't win. Like they're saying words, so like they don't mean anything. They're just words. You're just saying them because you have to say them. You're contractually obligated to write a 500-page article after or word article after. They're just words. You can't do anything, and so it's just a made-up word. We don't have a pressure. If we lose, we're not losing our life. Like we're not surgeons. We're not like in the military. We coach basketball for a living. And no one's putting more pressure and expectations than we are on ourselves. And it's like we have a responsibility and we have an ownership. And like I ask guys all the time, like, would you rather have someone expect you to lose or win? Like if you came up to me and be like, man, I really expected you to lose that game, I would be pissed. But it's like, if you come up to me like, you should have won that game, it's like, yeah, that's what we signed up for, So I think it's just the perspective of how you look at it and like the truth of it,
What words have power? Words.
No, they don't. If you let them, like if you allow words to take your personal power, then yes. So I don't allow words to take my personal power, and like that's just important. Like words don't have they only have power if you allow them to. And like that's what I try to teach my kids. It's like I don't give a shit what somebody says to you. Like, did you allow that to have an impact on you? Like he didn't put his hands on you, he didn't touch you, he didn't like do anything. He said something to you. So now you have a choice to like decide how you're going to interpret that. So like it's not pressure. There's nothing anyone in this circle can do to me that's going to impact my identity and who I am as a person or a coach. We're either going to win or we're not. And 40 years from now, none of you are invited to my funeral, and that's it. Like, that's it.
I saw you chatting with Baylor and Anton over there. As the only newcomers in this group, what kind of approach do you want them to be taking?
Yeah, listen, I was just telling them I know what it's like being them because before I was fortunate to be in this position, I worked with a lot of the young guys. And there's nothing harder than being a young player with the Celtics because we're trying to win championships and develop at the same time. And not many organizations are in both of those spaces. And so the young guys have to be very, very patient because the roster is top heavy. And although you may think you're getting better, I think JD and Drew are in that situation. Like they've gotten better as players. But when you're in a situation of the Celtics organization, it can be hard to see the growth in that, right? And so you just kind of have to be patient in it. And so I was just telling them, like, hey, this is a situation that you're in. You know, it's going to get difficult because of that, you know, that impatience. But you just have to work through it. And I think Jordan's done a really good job of kind of going through that process as well. And you're kind of seeing the fruits of, like, his patience and his work ethic and what the staff does.
How big of a balance is that this year? You're obviously going for the championship and trying to win now, but you have young guys who are looking for minutes, development opportunities. How do you balance those two things?
I mean, just by conversations, by stuff like that. And also, I think, like, part of having a great team is your depth. And we talked a lot about it this past year. It's like, you know, your stars have to win games, but I think over the course of a long season, the role guys won us 10, 15, 18 games. I was just telling Nimi, he started that stretch. It was like Orlando, Indiana. And we were able to come out on top on a few of those. And so your second unit and your guys that are out on back-to-backs, when they come in, they play a bigger important role because you can't miss a beat. And I think that's a huge strength of those guys is when their name's called upon, we don't miss a beat.
Thank you, Joe.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Joe.